Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to your Coffee Times to talk about horror. And today I'm here to talk to you about my favorite TBR. So here are the books that I intend and plan to read during the month of February.
It's coffee time!
So February is going to be a very interesting month for me because I'm going to be 2 weeks in the Netherlands and probably 2 weeks in Spain. So knowing that and keeping that in mind, I have designed a TBR where most of the books that I'm going to be reading, if not all of them, are going to be on my Kindle. And that is designed like that because when I have to fly to Spain, I'm in the middle of 1 or 2 books, I'm not gonna take the physical copies with me because that's gonna be really annoying. So I plan on just taking my Kindle to Spain. If I have to make an exception, I will, but my plan is anywhere I go, have my Kindle with me so I can complete my TBR. So that is how I have designed my TBR for the month of February, and let's get started. First of all, I will be reading 2 books that are going to be a surprise because they are part of a Valentine reading vlog that I'm going to be doing for the month of February. What I can tell you is they are both books by authors that I have read and enjoyed before, and they're both horror, but they have a strong element of romance in them, and that is why I picked them. So this year I'll still be reading horror, but with a strong romance kind of subgenre as well, so that it fits for February. The first one is That Night in the Woods by Christopher Triana, and this is the Evil Book Club pick from my Patreons, and this is going to be the first book that I read by the author, and he's an author that I had high up on my list of authors that I wanted to try because I know that his books are very disturbing, very messed up, and quite violent. So I wanted to give his books a try, and this is going to be the first one. Jennifer receives out of the blue a message from Scott. She has not talked to Scott in 20 years, but he was her first love. Now she's in her 40s, she's divorced, she feels lonely, so she's very, very excited to hear back from him. Scott invites Jennifer to spend some time with him in her old hometown, and she has not been there since she left, and she decides to go and agrees to go because she wants to meet Scott again. And when she gets to her hometown, she has mixed feelings. When she gets there, she also learns that Steve, one of Scott's friends from his childhood, has died. And so Scott has decided to invite also other friends from Steve to kind of, honor him. And apparently those friends, they all keep a secret, something that happened many years ago in the woods. I don't know what to expect from this book, to be honest, because I have never read the author before. But what I do know, as I've said, is that he's quite violent and extreme a little bit, I think. So that is one of the reasons why I wanted to try his books, because you guys know I enjoy Richard Lehman, for example, which is also quite messed up. So I'm thinking maybe this is also an author for me. It's going to be my first book, so let me know down below if you've read him before and what you thought of it. The next one is a book that is coming out in March 2025, and I have an arc for it. So I'm trying my best to read the arcs that I have a month before publication. At least that's my plan in 2025. So the book is called Serial Killer Support Group by Saratoga Scheffer, and this is a mystery thriller. Sarah's younger sister has been killed by a serial killer, and she knows better than to expect the police to find this person and bring them to justice. So what she decides to do is to try to find that person herself. So she infiltrates in a group that supports serial killers, and she pretends to be one herself. Of course, that will come with a price because the people that she meets there are very dangerous, but she's willing to do anything for revenge. I'm really excited about this one because it has everything that I love. It has serial killers, it has revenge, so I'm really excited to read this one. The next one is a mystery thriller that I wanted to read in 2024, but I didn't get to it, so I'm going to put it now on my favorite TBR, and that is The Mirror House Girls by Faith Gardner. And this is a psychological thriller. And this one reeks of cult, and you guys know I love books about cults as well. When Winona rents a house at the iconic Mirror House, she expects to make friends. But when she gets there, she finds a group of people that are very particular. They're kind of being all led. They're kind of like the family of these psychologists called Simon. I'm guessing they're gonna be like, Simon says, so I have to do it because it's a cult. Never mind, that joke didn't land. So if Winona wants to stay at Mirror House, she has to follow Simon's protocol and do everything he says. Now I cannot stop thinking about Simon Says. Help me. Let's move on to the next one before I embarrass myself any further. And this is another arc that I have for March 2025, but this time around it is actually a contemporary romance. And I didn't know if I wanted to put it in February since I'm gonna be reading some horror romance books, but I thought, why not? I actually am interested in this one because it has a trope that I really enjoy, and that is fake dating. The book is called Fake It Like You Mean It, and it is by Megan Murphy. Now this is fake dating and enemies to lovers, which are two tropes that I love. I love a lot more enemies to lovers. I am a sucker for that. There's something about the tension of hating someone and then just, you know, sticking your tongue down their throat that is just hits the spot for me. So I like enemies to lovers more than fake dating. But I would like to see how they combine these two, because why would you fake date somebody you hate? I guess it's because they have no other choice and they're gonna have to deal with it, so I'm excited for this. Elle's grandmother has always taken care of her, but now her grandma has Alzheimer's and now it's Elle's turn to take care of her grandma. She leaves Chicago behind and she goes back to her childhood town to take care of the grandma. She kind of moves in with her and she realizes that she knows the nurse that is taking care of her grandma, and it is a guy she hates. And the problem is because the mother has Alzheimer's, somehow in her mind Ellie and Adam, the nurse, are dating. So they're gonna have to pretend in front of the grandmother to make her happy. So this is going to be a really heartfelt book, I believe, because obviously you have the grandma that has Alzheimer's and that's gonna really hit hard. But then you have these two people that hate each other but have to pretend to be together to keep the grandma happy, and it sounds sad and tragic, so I will see how they balance that with the romance. The next book that I have on my list is The Creeper by A.M. Shine, and this is horror thriller. I've had this one on my Kindle for a while, and this is by the same author that did The Watchers that I really enjoyed, so I thought I would give this one a try. We follow some renowned academics that are on their way to an Irish island where they have been hired to go there to do an investigation. They do historical investigations, but when they get to the town they realize that nobody's talking, everybody looks like they are in a trance, and they are very confused as to what's happening here. The village they get to seems to be isolated and forgotten. Nobody's gonna talk. It seems nobody wants to talk about their history or what's going on there except a little girl, and the little girl says, 3 times you see him. Each night he comes closer. So I believe this is a folklore horror tale based on this Irish village, so that's exciting. The next one is a YA dystopia that I chose because it gave me a little bit of Hunger Games vibes, and it's been a very long time since I have read a book like that. It's called Sovereign by A.J. Whitney, and this is a book that also releases in February 2025. Number 332 is going to be Sacrifice. Her and 9 other teens are going to be left abandoned in the fields because they are supposed to be a sacrifice. So the elders in this town have been sacrificing teens. I believe each 10 years they offer 10 teens to the woods or whatever lives in the woods, and they are starting to question why they're doing this, why they believe in this God that lives in the woods, and if they should maybe stop it. And I'm really curious about this one because also, first of all, where do you get 10 teens to sacrifice? Don't they have families? Do you breed them to sacrifice them? Like, I have many questions. We move on to a very short read, but I have had this one on my Kindle also for a while, and I really like this author, and that is Samantha Kolesnik. What I have on my Kindle that I still have not read by her, it's called Samantha Kolesnik's Lonesome Hunts, and it's part of Tales Between Presents. This is just a collection of short fiction by Samantha Kolesnik, and if you don't know the author, she's responsible for True Crime and Wife, which are two novellas that were really messed up and that I really enjoyed. And I don't think she's publishing at all at the moment, which is very sad for me. So I have been keeping this short collection because I was like, at some point I'm gonna need to go back to her messed up writing, and I feel like it's time. The next book is another adult horror book, and it is The House That Jack Built. It is by Dale Robertson, and it tells the story of Old Man Jack, which is basically a legend that kids tell each other in order, to scare each other at school. So the house of this Old Man Jack is seen by kids as a challenge. So they challenge each other to go into that house, the typical children behavior, but I'm guessing that here the kids are gonna find something they were not ready for in that house. Some children come back out of the house with stories of the supernatural, but other children never came back out. Then I decided to add to my TBR a YA mystery thriller that I also really wanted to read when it came out, and somehow I still haven't got to. As you can see, the common theme on my favorite TBR pile is to clear a lot of things that I had on my Kindle that I really wanted to read and I still haven't got to. And that is Suddenly a Murder by Lauren Munoz. 7 friends throw a 1920s party, and it's all fun and games until one of them gets murdered. People say this is One of Us is Lying meets Knives Out in a locked room mystery, so this just sounds like my perfect type of mystery thriller, so I'm really excited to dive into it. And if this is a locked room mystery, it means probably that from the characters that we get introduced in the beginning that are throwing this party, one of them is most likely the killer. So I always love to have those stories in which you have a set of characters, somebody did the bad thing, which here is murder, and you have to try to figure out with the clues that the author leaves who did it. So those are all the books that I plan to read in the month of February. I know it sounds like a lot, but some of these are quite short. They are on the 200 pages mark, and I have a short story compilation that is also around 70 pages. It's very short. It's the Samantha Kolesnik one. So I'm hoping to get through all of it, and I am going to be in Spain with my parents, but I'm still gonna be working while I am there, so it's not like I'm gonna have all the time in the world, but I'm gonna try my best to catch up with my TBR pile. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you like to read romance during the month of February, or even horror romance books at all. Do you have any special plans for your February TBR pile? Let me know down below. Thank you guys as always so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!